In our very first story, the police in Akosombo Eastern region have found the bodies of two African Americans killed and buried by some unknown assailants. The victims had gone missing, and a search in their room on Tuesday afternoon revealed blood on the floor and a blood-stained cudgel believed to have been used to attack them. The acting president of the Kwamu Traditional Council dispatched over 70 people to help the police search for the two missing persons, a 75-year-old lady identified only as Manlema and 60-year-old Nzinga, who many suspected had been kidnapped and murdered. The two, who are leaders of the African-American community in Akwamu, were recently accused by the Chieftaincy Minister, Dr. Seydou Dana, of illegally acting as chiefs. Akosombo Divisional Commander ACP Busumpim told Joy News a burial site had been found Wednesday morning and they were waiting for officials from the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters in Accra to help investigate. Meanwhile, a sister of the two missing women of the African-American community in Akwamufi in the Eastern region has told Joy News their lives have been threatened several times. The two missing sisters, 75-year-old Manlema and Nzinga, 69, have been living in Ghana for 24 and 7 years respectively. Joy News' Adelaide Arthur caught up with Majiwa Akapan at the police headquarters here in Accra, where she lodged formal complaints about her missing sisters.
What has been the reaction of the family to this news?
Well, the family is just waiting for me to send any concrete information about what has happened, because we don't have anything to report except that they are missing and they found some evidence. It appears to be evidence of foul play.
Have there been threats in the past?
Oh yes, there have been threats from different people, and we've tried to ignore those threats and just deal with it legally. We have gone to court on different occasions, and we've tried to keep those threats from causing us to make some unnecessary movements. So yes, there have been threats, and we intend to turn those names over to the police.
Have you been able to speak to any officer here?
No, I haven't spoke to any officer here. I went to the U.S. Embassy, and they advised me to come over here and make a report at the CID and the police headquarters. So that's what I'm doing.
Elsewhere, the body of a teacher who was reported missing for several weeks has been found at Agujini Ekpando in the Volta region. The deceased, 44-year-old Francis Jude Kwamina Boaje, was a teacher at the Tanyagba Senior High School near Ho. A family source tells Joy News he left his home in Pando Chakpi on February 6 for a funeral at Pando Gaja, but never returned. Volta region correspondent Ivy Setoji has more.
Right now, the family is devastated. They are going through a lot, obviously, because according to the information we've gathered, he was the only son of the mother, and so the mother at the moment is going through a loss, losing an only child. So right now, the town is also going to a state of shock. They are asking the authorities, the police, to make sure justice is served. They should look out for those who murdered this young man, and so that they can also have that justice. So that is what the family is looking out for. Even though he's no more, they want justice to be done. The police wouldn't talk. They are not talking to anyone. They wouldn't talk to the media for now, but they said they are still doing their own investigations, and very soon they hope to get or arrest this culprit or this unknown people who murdered this young man. So for now, according to them, they are going on with their investigation.
Students of the University of Ghana threaten to boycott the next academic year if they are forced to pay water and electricity bills. This follows announcements that government is considering proposal to ask students to pay for the utilities they use on the various campuses. At a media briefing in Accra today, student leaders at the University of Ghana insisted that they cannot pay. Anodame has more.
In a charged mood, student leader Adams Hussein explained the move, if implemented, will be an extra burden on them.
This injurious policy, if implemented, has the extreme potential to force several of our students out of school and put their career path in complete jeopardy. That is not all. It will be a great detriment to our brothers and sisters who wish to join us in this tertiary institution. It is solemnly against this backdrop that we, the students of University of Ghana, with joint effort with Confederacy of Tertiary Institution students across the length and breadth of the country, to want to register a non-negotiable stand against this disastrous policy. Our position is unblemished and straight.
Adams Hussein said they will use every legal means to stop government from making them pay. The students are meanwhile planning a nationwide demonstration next week Monday to register their protest if their concerns are not addressed.
We will on this coming Monday, May 11, 2015, embark on a peaceful demonstration characterized with grave display of intellectual maturity to register our displeasure on government impervious and insensitive intention to shirk its responsibilities of paying utility bills. Therefore, if government, through any clandestine ways, intend to implement the said policy, we should reconsider this decision because it will not see the light of the day. However, if no headway is made with a diplomatic means, we can warrant government of a boycott of next academic year.
Some of the students who spoke to Joy News say they do not know why government will even consider making them pay the bills.
They collected about 50 cedis from us this semester, before the opening of this semester. So in addition to our bills, what we are paying, I think it will be too much.
Should it materialize, it's a quite insensitive policy, because the present economic situation of the country is very, very tough, and it's quite unfair. Most of our parents find it difficult to even get the amount of money we need to pay our fees and other things that we need on campus. So should they add it, I think it's going to be a very big burden on our parents.
Looking at how our school fees will be restructured next semester, and the government coming to tell us that he's taking off subsidies, we paying subsidies, we don't think we can pay, because looking at it, our school fees or the amount will shoot up very, very much that we as students, we cannot really pay.
Elsewhere, the Koforidua Polytechnic is currently without electricity and water after supply was disconnected. According to the utility company, the school has failed to pay its bills. Joining us, correspondent Kofi Sian filed this report.
Currently, even though the water and electricity supply has been cut, students' life on campus has been what I would describe as normal, because they are currently in their various classes. And some are also waiting to attend to other responsibilities. And when I spoke to some of them, what they are telling me is that even though the light and the water has been cut, especially with the water, they have reservoirs which they are depending on it now. So they have enough water stored in those reservoirs, which they are currently falling on for their survival on campus. Lecturing or lectures has been going on as it's supposed to be done, because they usually depend on the power during the evening hours, and now that power is not on, they are currently in classes even though they have no power, and they usually don't depend on power during the day hours. So their complaint is that fine, they don't have light in the afternoon, but they will plead with authorities to ensure that they have light in the evening, because according to them, some of the students are being attacked here and there.
Police have arrested 15 people for illegally drawing water from the pipelines of the Ghana Water Company. District Commercial Director in the Accra West District, Joseph Ashley, says 3 persons have so far been processed for court, and some 30,000 Ghana cedis has been recovered.
What I'm saying is that what you see down here is what we call bypass. this is a bypass. The bypass means that the water, even though you may have disconnected the customer, because he has a bypass in place, the water will, as the name implies, bypass the meter and go into his house or the facility where he needs the water. So you can imagine the amount of water that will be losing. You will sit in your office and think that you have disconnected the customer, yet he's getting water because he has done a bypass. So many people involved in such things, get involved in such things. Whenever we are going to such communities where we foresee any form of aggression, we make sure we get police protection, because anything at all can happen. Because if they could go to the extent of trying to take over the gun of a whole police officer, a peace officer, then what is it that people cannot do when you as a civilian comes around to effect an arrest, not to effect an arrest, but to disconnect an illegal connection? We want customers or people within the communities to come and give us information that will lead to detection of such illegal activities. And we have a policy to reward people who come and give us information that lead us to detect some of these things.
In other news, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is unable to attend to new cases at its outpatient department because of the absence of house officers. Only critical cases are being attended to, while less critical cases are rescheduled. Well, management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital says it is untrue that they have suspended outpatient services as a result of the exit of the house officers. The management, however, concedes the hospital is currently faced with a short-term staffing gap that will soon be resolved.
The official position of the hospital is that yes, because the house officers are not there, we will have a manpower shortage, significant notwithstanding. Our priority is to care, as he rightly said, but then it's also to create space by offsetting what we call elective cases. Those are patients who walk in who can actually be treated tomorrow or some other time. The heads of departments were instructed and agreed to streamline services. So what it means is that critical care and other services will be provided, with the exception of surgery and internal medicine, which had to, this morning, in trying to organize ourselves to adjust for the gap, had to close down the general outpatient. All other outpatient, medical emergency, accident center are all working and will continue to work. We are expecting the new house officers in about 2 weeks, and within the 2-week period, we will do what we do as doctors. Mind you, the consultants we're all doctors primarily. So the responsibilities of the house officers will have to be shared over all of us, which we've agreed to do, and ensure that the hospital keeps running till they come in and relieve us of the extra load that their absence is causing.
While the Medical and Dental Council has rejected suggestions, it is to blame for the near crisis at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital following the sudden exit of more than 100 trainee doctors. The house officers left the Premier Teaching Hospital after a year-long service as part of their training. The hospital relies heavily on the expertise in health delivery, and the absence is said to blame for the refusal of the facility to take on new cases at its outpatients department. Scores of patients have been left stranded as a result, while others have had to leave without being attended to. Though management has blamed the Medical and Dental Council for failing to post new house officers in good time, its registrar, Dr. Eli Atikui, says Kolebu must take responsibility for the crisis.
The statement is not true. Yes. Kolebu had a number of house officers to do the first-year rotation in Kolebu. They had completed their first year. Now, the second group of house officers are being processed for posting to Kolebu. Yeah, that is what I can say with it.
When did the first batch finish its housemanship?
Well, I was told the first batch completed on Monday the 4th.
4th of April?
4th of May.
4th of May. Yes. That is just yesterday.
Just 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Exactly. That was what the chief executive told me. I had a discussion with him on last week Thursday, and then on Monday, that house officers were scheduled to complete their first year rotation on Monday the 4th. Yep.
So how come we're having this lull of they not being at post, and for which reason the hospital says they don't have the men to work?
No, you see, we're talking about, like I did indicate, we're talking about two crop of house officers, the first years and the second years. Those who are currently in Kolebu have completed their first year rotation, and they are being posted out. They have a leave period of 2 weeks. Now, the new ones are supposed to be posted to Kolebu to replace their first years, to also do a 1-year rotation in the teaching hospital. We are aware, or we know that the newly qualified doctors are going to be inducted on Friday. By Monday, these house officers will be available to Kolebu to start their housemanship training.
So from now till Monday, today is Tuesday, today is Wednesday. For the next couple of days, what happens?
Well, unfortunately, I don't work in Kolebu, I don't manage Kolebu, and I wouldn't be in a position to really answer this particular question.
Could the postings have been a bit earlier, considering the challenge now?
I wish to be silent on this particular question.
Why not?
Well, just that.
Is there a reason? Because the reason I'm asking is that the one who needs the medical care needs it now. Why should it wait?
Now, that's what I'm saying, that we are not asking the patients to wait till the house officers are posted to them. We agree that there are issues in the, it's an institutional problem, and I wouldn't want to double in whatever happens in Kolebu. Kolebu is an accredited institution to train house officers, but the micromanagement of house officers at Kolebu, the Medical and Dental Council doesn't go into that. Sure. House officers are there for training, right? I know that they also assist, they augment the services that are provided in specific institutions. The picture which is being created now is that house officers are the core healthcare providers, without whom, care cannot be delivered.
The Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Haruna Idrisu, has directed management of the Agricultural Development Bank to halt the process of listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange until further consultations with the workers are completed. Haruna Idrisu also directed the management to stay execution on the sale of the bank until forensic investigations into its operations are concluded. The sector minister gave the directives at an emergency meeting with the management and unionized workers of ADB today. The closed-door meeting spanned over 2 hours.
Pursuant to a government policy decision to restructure ADB and to allow for private participation in its ownership, that policy decision remains same. However, management is subject to finalization and consultation with other stakeholders, in particular the union. You proceed further only subject to further consultation with other stakeholders. So the initial public order, which is a major policy decision of government approved on by the board, should proceed only subject to further consultations and finalization of negotiations with UNICOF, and in particular the involvement of the local union. The other major issue which is at the center or at the heart of the conflict was on the sale of ADB House.
The workers had earlier demanded the resignation of the MD and the dissolution of the board, but the Employment and Labour Relations Minister told the media their concerns will be investigated. The Bank of Ghana, in addition to the issues of conflict of interest, has also been asked to look into the issues of corporate governance raised by the workers.
Matters relating to the financial center, AgriDev, its ownership and management of it, and issues relating to build, operate, transfer, and the status of it will further be examined by the regulator, the Bank of Ghana, and probably with an external partner, so to be determined by them. It is my understanding that the Bank of Ghana will also look into other matters of corporate governance and conflict of interest issues raised as the regulator.
The minister also issued a directive on the controversial decision to pay monthly rent of 1 million cedis on a new head office after selling off its old edifice for $10 million.
Management is subject to finalization and consultation with other stakeholders, in particular the union. You proceed further only subject to further consultation with other stakeholders. So the initial public order, which is a major policy decision of government approved on by the board, should proceed only subject to further consultations and finalization of negotiations with UNICOF, and in particular the involvement of the local union. Management is accordingly advised to stay action and to halt all processes leading to the sale of ADB House. So that is to be put on hold. You are not to proceed further with the sale of ADB House. You should restore full operations of the activities of the bank.
The ministry has meanwhile asked the workers to focus on their jobs while the probe takes place.
But as the Bank of Ghana prepares to launch investigations into the matter, the Deputy Secretary of the Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance Workers, UNICOF, John Siape, is already questioning the credibility of that investigation. Speaking on today's big story, Mr. Siape explained as long as the Managing Director of the bank remains at post, it will influence the investigations. We'll bring you that story later, but the communications director of the New Patriotic Party, Nana Kumia, has described as exaggerated recent events in the party some analysts say could hurt its electoral fortunes. The latest incident, which many say point to a rift between the party's chairman and general secretary on one hand and the rest of the executives on the other, involves the convening of a crucial meeting without Paul Afoko and Kwabena Japon, even though the 2016 presidential candidate, Nana Adodankwe Akufo-Addo, was present. Although he described the recent developments as unfortunate, Nana Kumia was quick to emphasize that the perceptions of divisions are overplayed.
It's unfortunate that these disagreements play out in the public domain. The NPP will have to do a better job of keeping their internal disagreements internal. But it cuts across all the parties. Indeed, all the parties can do a better job. I mean, like I told you, in the end, these are our main rivals. Look, recently, NDC has actually sacked the General Secretary before because of internal wranglings and disagreement. The General Secretary was sacked. I think it's a professor at Legon, if I remember correctly. Recently, they suspended their Deputy General Secretary over disagreements and prevented him from contesting. So all the parties suffer from this. All the parties can do a better job. My party should set the pace. Like I said, there's focused leadership, 94% support for the leader. It is disagreements between individuals, interpretation of roles and responsibilities that have to be sorted out. And when we're able to do that, I'm sure we'll be on the road to victory 2016. Listen, I have said to you that you would have disagreements in any institution. That is not strange at all. It's how you manage them. And to the extent that major political parties have had their disagreements come into the public domain, all the political parties can do a better job. We are having parliamentary primaries. And somebody mentioned Suhum and so on. I mean, there are parliamentary primaries, the individual contestants who have their supporters, and they will be canvassing and campaigning. That is not division. Any election that you have this contesting claims. So that's not an issue. There's the perception that Paul Afoko has been undermined. I've never heard the chairman himself make that claim. But people seem to believe that he has been undermined. And nobody will give you any instance where Paul Afoko or anybody in the party has been undermined. I've never heard so.
Paul Afoko and Kwabena Japon themselves called a press conference. We know this last year.
Yeah.
And that was their complaint.
And did they give the instances where they have been undermined?
Well, they talked about appointments and disappointments that they felt it was their right to carry out, which, there was a kickback.
Yes, but if you felt you had a certain responsibility, and that interpretation is challenged, that is not undermining. That is trying to get to the middle. And at the end of the day, the matter was resolved. The proper authority to make those appointments made those appointments. So it was a disagreement as to roles, and that was clearly settled.
Before
it was a disagreement. I have told you that those things are unfortunate because, like we said, it cuts across all the political parties. People get emotional. You are talking about something in Kumasi. There should have been security. Ordinarily, when you're going to have these elections, people have invested time, effort, money, and so on. supporters can get unruly. I'm surprised that there was no security at this place that you mentioned.
A 28-year-old farmer has been arrested for possessing 22 sacks of weed suspected to be cannabis worth over 10,000 Ghana cedis. Nyoko Dere was arrested at his home at Tolong in the Jurapa district of the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam sent in this report.
The Upper West Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Police Service, ASP Joy Afekbeji, said the suspect was arrested upon a tip-off. He was alleged to have farmed, harvested, and packaged the 22 sacks of weeds suspected to be cannabis. The police, upon receiving the information, proceeded to the house of the suspect and found in one of his rooms the sacks.
In a caution statement to the police, he claimed ownership of the exhibit. He has been remanded in police custody to assist in further investigations. Meanwhile, exhibit will be sent to the police forensic laboratory for examination and analysis. Upper West Regional Police Command wish to extend its appreciation to the informants who have been giving information to the police.
In another development, Nandom District now has a new district police headquarters and district commander's bungalow. The two facilities, funded from MP's share of the common fund, were constructed at a cost of 341,000 Ghana cedis.
The administration has also upgraded 3 divisions in the region, and the divisional headquarters are going to be in Lora, Tumu, and Wa.
Next, we bring you business news with Abigail Adumakwinchi. Stay tuned. It's now time for business with Abigail Adumakwinchi. And there's all this talk about interest rates and the fact that, well, we're likely to see it going down. We were hoping.
Well, but not anytime soon. And I mean, from yesterday we heard from the minister, and today market players are also saying the same. Okay. They are giving reasons, so we'll find out.
Let's hear them out.
Sure. Now, the managing director of Societe Generale, Gilbert, he insists interest rates cannot come down substantially as long as government is borrowing at around 23% from banks. Government in the last few months has been waging a campaign to drive down lending rates, which currently hovers around 30%. Gilbert, he told Joy Business after the bank's turn at the Ghana Stock Exchange facts behind the figure session, interest rates are likely to stay up for at least the next 2 years.
Given the high level of debt of the country and the high level of financial requirements, the state and the government will have to borrow. For instance, these first 6 months in 2015, the level of borrowing, domestic borrowing, is 24 billion Ghana cedi instead of 12 billion last year. So government is borrowing twice. So they need to offer in T-bills high rates. And until the government needs to borrow that much and offer high rates, you will not have a decrease of rate in the country. You will have a decrease of rate when the needs of the government to borrow will decline and the demand will decline, because the rates are always an equation of offer and demand. So as long as the government will need money, in a big way like this, the rates will not go down. The rates can decline, but it will not come very quickly, and it will not come in a big way. To decrease the rates, yes, I agree. We need 3 to 4 years.
What will be the basis for it? What are the factors that would drive down the rates, possibly in the next 3 years?
The better debt management from the government.
Ghana in 2014 alone forfeited close to 500 million Ghana cedis by way of import duties, which should have accumulated to the states, but which government waived to various companies and individuals under its exemptions region. The Finance Ministry, however, does not agree the amounts necessarily represent a loss. A tax policy analyst for the ministry, Edward Labisian, says such duty exemptions are sometimes unavoidable.
Exemptions granted by Parliament alone in 2014 amounted to 214.18 million cedis. Revenue lost due to special permits also totaled 285.36 million cedis last year.
I'm not trying to be defensive, but in every country, including Africa and Ghana, the government of the they will give away some exemptions. Some people argue they are not necessary. Others argue if you don't give, Togo will give and they will attract the investors. Nigeria may give. So we end up giving. But the actual drill is to make sure the tax exemption will go to the genuine sectors. For example, the mining, the oil and gas. Everybody will agree in the country that oil and gas are needed in the country, both for export and internal consumption. So if you are to give up some exemption, yes.
According to the International Monetary Fund, there is a need for government to improve its revenue position by ensuring that sectors and firms which have long enjoyed tax breaks and exemptions are made to pay taxes. To this end, the fund wants government to review and streamline the tax exemption regime for free zones companies and state-owned enterprises. Government has since removed the tax incentives to free zones companies. Edward Labisian, however, says not every free zones company is affected.
They haven't removed all the incentives. When the free zone companies, sometimes they were not paying any taxes for the first 10 years. After 10 years, they were paying only 8%. Now, those who are still in the export sector will now pay 15%. But those who will be competing with the local Ghanaian manufacturers, they are selling to the same market, and the local manufacturer is paying 25% corporate tax. It is equitable and reasonable for the free zones who sell on the local market also to pay 25%.
Government will conduct reviews by September 2015 to identify exemptions to be eliminated with the 2016 budget.
Let's now do something on telecom. And mobile telephony firm Tigo Ghana has put together a 3-day digital customer fair. It says seeks to educate its subscribers while sharing information about digital trading. The fair, which Tigo describes as an interactive and satisfying experience, brings together technology firms.
Exhibitors like Microsoft, Samsung and Jumia took patrons through various ways of making the smartphone beneficial and convenient for everyday life. They also displayed their digital devices. Head of Customer Operations at Tigo, Stephen Asian, tells Joy Business the rationale behind organizing the fair.
So many people we have in Ghana here who use their mobile phones for just making calls and receiving calls, but there's more to it. There's more to it. I do lots of things online. I do shopping online. I pay bills online using my phone. So these are the things we want to expose our customers to. We have sessions. It's 3-day sessions, so we have some students coming through. We have students from Legon, students from Accra Poly, Workers College, from Social Advance, all those schools that are in and around our area. We're bringing them on board to educate them or give them opportunity to learn new things on digital lifestyle. It's free. Everybody is free. It's open for everybody. You come in, come and enjoy our sweet environment, good ambience. Come and listen to the professionals also talk.
The fair will end on Friday, May 18.
That'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adoma Kwenchi. Israel Lai joins us with more.
Some communities at the Bui resettlement area of the Brunahafo region are worried about the re-emergence of the black fly in the area with the onset of the rainy season. Though there have been efforts by the state to eradicate the pests with spraying exercises, the communities say these have not been forthcoming in recent years. Joy News' Nestor Kafui Ajuma has more in this report.
Biting insects found near rivers and streams for their immature stages. Through their bites, the insects frequently transmit nematodes, causing river blindness or onchocerciasis in humans. Since female black flies need blood to lay eggs, their biting causes great nuisance to both humans and animals. The activities of these black flies in and around Bui in the Banda district of the Brunahafo region have been quite destructive in the not too distant past, and the re-emergence of the pest is of great concern to the people.
The reimagining of the past is disturbing.
The mass spraying in the community has ceased for 2 years now.
The district chief executive for Banda, Jacob Boateng, has however downplayed fears the black flies may return. He accused the New Patriotic Party in the constituency for spreading the falsehood just to score cheap political points.
The people of Banda haven't seen any black flies around them. It is political. Well, recently, the Mayo opposition made a press conference. Now there's black flies at Breeze settlement or catchment area. And let me tell you, my friend, when you get to Breeze side, and I'm inviting the press conference, those who organize the press conference, they should go there. They should even leave their clothing and sleep for 1 hour if they will see a black fly. So there's no black fly at Banda.
Joining is caught up with the district director of health service for Banda, Jacob Munukpa, who also denied the black flies have come back to the Banda and Bui communities.
This news to me. Well, since I took over in October last year, I've gone around all the communities in my district. Not once, not twice, more than 4 or 5 times. I haven't seen a single fly. I haven't seen a single fly in my district. Though, these are the districts that some years back we were having a problem. We had a spraying exercise. Since I haven't seen any fly in the district.
Nestor Kafuya Jumes report for Joy News.
A driver and his mate narrowly escaped death when their vehicle, a Kia truck, somersaulted around the whole Civic Center traffic light intersection Tuesday afternoon. The fully loaded truck with bags of flour lost balance while descending the further high street and eventually overturned on the pedestrian walkway. The driver and his mate, who were unhurt, managed to escape through the broken windscreen. Eyewitnesses blamed the driver for attempting to jump the traffic light by overspeeding. Some eyewitnesses also reprimanded the driver and his mate for plying a route designated for light vehicles only, ignoring the route for heavy-duty vehicles. The whole municipal police say the driver has committed a road traffic offense by using an unapproved route and would be punished.
We begin sports tonight with weightlifting, and Sports Minister Dr. Ahmed Mustafa has tasked the national weightlifting team to rise above their current challenges and make the nation proud at the upcoming All-Africa Games in Congo-Brazzaville. Like other so-called lesser-known sports, weightlifting has had to deal with a lack of fans as it prepares for tournaments. But during a tour of the training base of the national weightlifting team, the Black Cranes, the Sports Minister encouraged the team to endure just a while longer.
I know you are training under challenging conditions, but in the medical field, the first thing is to even do what is called diagnosis. What is it that is wrong? So this tour or this round that I'm making is to find out what is happening, what is on the ground, what are the conditions, and then always keep in mind that very soon, just around the corner, we have All Africa Games, and we want you to go out there and win medals and medals and medals. I've heard a lot of good things about this sport today. One is able to win several medals. President has also spoken to me about the sort of collaboration that exists between the Federation and the security services, and my intention is to continue to pay them visits. I've already gone to see the Director for Immigration to pat him on the back for the support the service is giving our sportsmen and women, and then to ask him, you know, Oliver Twist, every day is asking for more and to ask for more. I'm yet to visit the military and the police and then the other services. It takes a lot of pressure off the sports persons.
Football next, and the number of players making a return to the First Capital Plus Premier League just grew by one. Former Brecum Chelsea striker Baba Mando is the latest to make the move. Amando, who also starred for Premier League giants Asante Kotoko rivals Ken Faisal last, played for Brecum Chelsea in 2013. He has since been out with a knee injury, but as revealed to Joy Sports, he's ready for a comeback.
Yeah, we all want to help the local league to rise up to its level, you know. So if now they know they can use the old players to build up now, so we have no problem about that. It's cool.
Is Baba Amando ready to come?
Yeah, 50-50.
And which team are you likely to play for?
Yeah, I don't have any team in mind yet. I don't have any team in mind. I'm not building my strength, and then I'm now coming from injury, so I have to build up my fitness before I can think about any club, you know. Yeah.
Okay, so teams like Hartefo, Kumasa, Santiago, and then even your former club, Brekum Chelsea, should they come? Are you ready to play for any one of them?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. No, yeah, when I'm fit, no problem. For now, I'm not fit. So till I got fit, when they knock the door, yeah, why not? Cool.
No doubt, it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, not the kind of goal you'd expect.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm talking about my direct. But in any case, it was a beautiful goal there. Really beautiful goal. I mean, especially at that point where he took the ball. I mean, he swept the defender, and the defender just went
dead, totally. And you know who the defender was? Kevin Prince Boateng's brother. That's John Boateng there.
So that was good. Okay, but there are other issues, in the world of sports. First of all, Adebayo. What's happening?
Adebayo has been going through loads of problems, and he says that his issues that he has been going through.
Let me qualify. The generous Adebayo.
Generous Adebayo. Yeah. He's done a lot for his family, according to him. He's done
friends.
And friends as well.
Face and 2,000.
And it turns out that it's not working out for him, and he says that it is spiritual, superstitious. I mean, there's some juju going on in the family, and the family is just not helping him to go on. So he posts on his Facebook page, a series of events that goes on, what he has done to his brothers, what he has done for the mother, what he has done for the sister, indeed what he has done for the brother, Peter Adebayo, who died. And well, it's a very sad story coming into it.
The sports segment was...
And the hashtag still remains Doomsday must stop. That's it for the bulletin. Before we go a quick run through our top stories. Police have discovered a grave with bodies of 2 African-American residents of Kromufi in the Eastern region, reported missing on Monday. The Bank of Ghana is to investigate conflict of interest situation involving the managing director of the Agricultural Development Bank, even as Employment Ministry affirms the suspension of the IPO and head office sale.